Welcome to a new Newsflash, and this is the 17th of July 2022. And I have a bit of a special setup. You notice eventually that I'm not recording in 4K here, but 1080p, because I'm using the 10 Mark IV for recording here right now. And you might notice something with the sound. I will tell you a bit later what it is all about, because I don't have a microphone attached here. So what kind of microphone I'm using. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the news. So we have one interesting news regarding Lenovo, Microsoft and Linux, and we have a news regarding the whole new Nothing phone that I have here, as you can see. I know, it's a lame joke. Anyway, first let's talk about Lenovo, because it's a bit of a negative news. Lenovo's new ThinkPads and other laptops have been tested, and they figured out that you cannot install Linux on them anymore in its default state. And why is it so? Lenovo says, Microsoft says, okay, we have to disable support for third-party UEFI secure boot keys. UEFI secure boot is the new relatively new technology that checks your operating system, its signature, with the BIOS, or nowadays called UEFI, to check if they match up, if it's allowed, and then it can boot. So trusted security platform, or how is it called, TPM, trusted platform, something. Anyway, this thing has been a fear of Linux users for a long time. Microsoft said, we are now friendly with Linux, we are your friends, we give you the key so that you can also boot your Linux distribution on your favorite hardware. This was back in the day. Nowadays they went to a more strict mode. At least Lenovo says that Microsoft demanded them to turn off third-party keys, because some Linux distributions use third-party keys to boot their own operating system. And this was allowed in the past. Now Microsoft apparently, this is what Lenovo claims, said to Lenovo, turn this feature off, which made, of course, the consequence Linux not bootable by default on the device. So you have to do a little bit of middling and fiddling around in, I think, the UEFI settings to make it boot again. Nothing much of a problem, I think, for Linux, is it? But it's revealing an issue that might lead to a bigger problem if more and more people who want to try out Linux, maybe, because why the fuck should I use Microsoft Windows? They don't have the option anymore, because it's fucking complicated to get this to work, just to boot. And it's not Linux fault, it's just Microsoft making it harder for people to make and use and try out a different operating system. And this cannot be, can it? So this is one thing where I would say, okay, hopefully Lenovo can figure it out and can make a deal with Microsoft, or Microsoft says, it wasn't us, or there was like some miscommunication going to happen. But I could imagine that Microsoft's trying to do it again and again and again and again. This is why I don't like this technology at all. But you can post in the comments what you use currently as a laptop. I really like ThinkPads, but I switched now to the Asus ZenBook 13 UM325S with a nice OLED screen, which is something I did not see on Lenovo ThinkPads so far, but I have tons of Lenovo ThinkPads as well. I'm a Linux developer, of course I have it. Anyway, let's talk about the Nothing phone, which is really nothing to, write or talk about, actually, because it is, like I said, like I feared, a gimmick phone. A big gimmick phone that has this glyph on the background, on the back side, which has like nice LEDs that can play around a little bit, and it's fun for a few minutes, and afterwards you don't use it anymore. It's like the Oppo Find X3 Pro that has this microscope camera that you use for a few times, fun for a few minutes, and then you don't use it anymore because it's not very useful. And it is not very useful. Even like the thing with I can use it for macro works and have the light around there light up for helping. No, it is not very useful. Point. That's my point. It's not very useful. So the device is basically a mid-range device that we saw here already on a 50 Nova 9. Same processor, same power basically. Granted, they added wireless charging, so they did a little bit of underground work with Qualcomm together to allow the chip, the Snapdragon 778G. I think they're using the Plus version, slightly overclocked version, to allow also wireless charging, which those don't have. In terms of cameras, 250 megapixels. Granted, they just excluded this wasteless 2 megapixel sensor that we have here. But the 50 megapixel JN1 sensor from Samsung is not doing, the ultra wide is not doing a better job, so much better job than the 8 megapixels here or here. So I don't know. It's a typical mid-range phone with an iPhone-like design and yeah, special back case with these LEDs, which I would call gimmick. Anything else that they do good there or well? Software is almost stock Android. Some people like it, other people hate it because they don't like Android and the design of Android so much, especially the newer version 12, which is me included there. I don't like it at all. So yeah, is it something that is worth buying? I really don't know. You have to decide for yourself. We have to see what comes next in terms of nothing phone, but for now it seems like such a big hype, but only such a big phone. Anyway, it's a large phone, but it's not special in any way, besides the back plate, which I would say is like gimmick. Let's talk about videos, because these are the news of this week. I don't have anything else. Videos, so I will do some videos. I'm using the 10 Mark IV right now for recording, 1080p 30 frames per second. This is what you can do. Of course, you can go 1080p 60 if you want to, but 1080p 30 is what I'm doing here right now. I think it's enough. And now come to the audio setup that I'm using, because I'm using the 1 Mark IV here, down there is the 1 Mark IV with the Music Pro app. And the Music Pro app I see is still recording. It's recording for 6 minutes already. It can record 10 minutes in total, and then it stops recording because one track can only be 10 minutes. But I will apply the studio filter that Sony wants us to pay for if you use more than 100, or was it 200 megabytes file? Anyway, I try the studio tuning here if I still have a little bit of free contingent that I can use for this file. And you can listen then to, or you're listening actually to the recording from the Xperia 1 Mark IV with the Music Pro app. I will do a video about the Music Pro app where I show you the user interface, how you can use it, what features it has right now, and what I think it should improve a little bit. So this is a video that will be coming. There is a new headphone in the house here, Purdue Kit. I hope I pronounced it right. Sent me these here, very cheap headphones, but lots and lots of feature, good sound quality, a little bit too small ear caps, I would say, for over ears, more like over on ear combination, depending on your ear size. It can be very compact, has a bit of a crappy control system, at least a bit confusing control system. Sound is okay, and 60 hours battery life. So I will do a review about this as well. Have him in testing here for a few hours already, a few days actually, and I will do a review video about this as well. As a second pair, I can recommend you to take a look at these as well, especially if you're going for vacation or something and have fear to bring your super expensive headphones. This might be a good alternative, especially also for those Sony ones that are also in the same price region. Don't have as many features because they offer Bluetooth, they offer FM radio, they have a micro SD card slot as well to listen to your favorite albums all the time, and 3.5 millimeter headphone jack as well. Have some cheaper Sony ones, maybe a little bit more expensive, also plastic, and if you have them on, you hear, if you walk, all the plastic rattling and making noises and cracking, and those don't do this, even though they are a little bit cheaper. So recommend to take a look at them. Now I'm recording 9 minutes. I have to come to an end for this Newsflash, 17th of July 2022. What do you think about all this? You have some news? Write it down in the comment section. That's everything for this, and until the next time. Bye.